Welcome everyone. While we wait for everyone to connect, let me introduce our company, AV Network. We've been in the RIP software market for a long time. In fact, we have versions of our software dedicated to direct-to-garment and UV LED printing. With this new DTF technology, we have created a specific version for this sector. Today, in this webinar, we will explain the software configuration, the printing process, which is very simple, and we will explain the many features of the software. So let me just open the software. Now we will see the form for configuring the printer that you will see for the first time that you open the software. So here you have the language and the unit. As you see, most Epson printer for DTF are already supported, and we also have profiles for them. So we just choose our printer. We have a P400. The software will download the driver automatically. Now you choose the profiles. So we have DTF profiles already made for DTF inks. And now we choose the printer port. This is very important. If you miss to configure this, the software will not be able to print. It's important to choose the name, choose the printer port, and then click Add, and not click directly OK. And after the restart, our software will be configured for the printer we choose. In our case, Epson P400. After we finish the configuration of the software, we can proceed to open it. Now we will see how to print with WhiteRIP. So we start loading some images. We can do it by clicking here with this form, or we can drag and drop the images directly on the WhiteRIP. So we can go on, select our images, and WhiteRIP will start load them. WhiteRIP supports the most common file formats, such as JPEG, PNG, PSD, PDF, and TIFF, and also support LAB and grayscale color method for images. As you see, this one is an LAB image, this one instead is grayscale images. So to print, we need to open the template. We select our sheet size, and with a double click we can load the image on the template. We can choose one of the presets here. We will later discuss what they mean, what's the difference between them. Press the print button. You can give the job a name to then quickly recognize them on the queue, and just press print. That is the steps to print. But on template, we can do a lot more. For example, we can print multiple images on one template, also multiple different images on the same template. So we do not need to prepare the graphics before. We do not need to prepare a tree format with all the copy inside. we can just load the single images and then organize them directly on WhiteRIP. For example, I can reduce this one. I can do it by input the size I want here, or double click and I can resize with the mouse. So I can now duplicate the image with this function. I can set the number of repetition, the margin, so let's say 2 and 2, and WhiteRIP will make the copy of the images. But as I mentioned before, I can also load different images. So I can load this one, as you see, and also I can duplicate this one right here. So I do not need to prepare everything before. I mean, if I have to print and copy of this image, I just load it and I can make all the work on WhiteRIP. Also, if you have some images that you print very often, you can save this layout with all the settings that you have changed. For example, you want to print in a unidirectional, you want to give the print a little more of total link. Okay, you want the image to be with more color. You can increase the total link, and then you can save all these settings and also the image position with layout, save. So let's save. And this will not only save the settings that I just showed you, but will also save the images. So even if you delete the images from your computer, you move them, they are inside the file that we are creating now. So even if now I move the files elsewhere, or I delete, when I load the layout, I will have the files that I was using. As you see, all the settings were the one we used before. I can also close and reopen to show you. Here we go to template, layout, open. We select the template the layout we saved before. And there it is. As you see, the images are not opened on WhiteRIP, but we have them on the template. And the most important things of this feature is that we still can make changes, because we will see later we can export the ripped file, the file that we sent to the printer, but those files cannot be edited. So we can resend the same print, but we cannot change parameters or images position. Once the file is ripped, you can no longer change it. But saving the layout means that we can make changes. So other template functions. So before when we printed, we selected one of these environments. These environments are our presets that include profiles, resolutions, and color quantity and other settings. So as you see here, they are grouped by black, colored, dark, and white fabric. What's the difference? The difference is in the optimizations of the colors, of the white and the colors. For example, white fabric is of course for white fabric and will not print the white ink. So we will only print the colors, the CMYK colors. Colored fabric, it's our generic profiles, because you can use it for any kind of color. If you have orange t-shirt, if you have black t-shirt, you can use these colored fabric environments, and they will make a full white layer regardless of the color that will be printed over it. Instead, black fabric will be optimized for black fabric. So, as you see now, the white layer is not present on where the image color is black, and also if you see the head of the skull, it's optimized based on what kind of color is above. So we can save some ink, but still make great prints. Also, as you notice, when I choose colored fabric, this image has a black background. With black fabric, we automatically exclude the pure black from the printing. So if you see the preview by clicking the color boxes, if you see the black preview, you see that the black is not printed where the graphic is black on black fabric. So if you see the skull eyes, there is no black printed because we use the fabric color for the black. And also, if you have if you have images with black background, you do not need to edit them and remove the black. But if you print with a black fabric environment, it will automatically exclude it. Dark fabric instead will also optimize the black, but sorry, we will also optimize the white. As you see, where the graphic will be black, still we are not printing the white, but we will print the black, because of course, as you see from the background here, we can have dark red, dark green, or other colors, so we need the black to be printed. With dark fabric, you can specify the color of the background and tell the software to optimize the white layer and also the color based on that color. So for example, if we choose a green, sorry, and then we go to the image, we change white base generator background. We see that now compared to before, there is less white where the graphic is going to be green, because we have a green in the background. Instead, for this image, of course, now it will print with this kind of environment. We'll print a black, the black square. So we will see later how to automatically knock out the black. So even if your image has the black background, but you want to print not in a black media, you can still do it. So let me reset now the table. let me reload some images. As we closed before the WhiteRIP, oh yeah, we can also open the files from recent files here. So you can quickly reopen the file that you already opened without needed to go around and search for them in your folders. So, what other option and settings we have here on template? Of course, we can with this button we can create we can show a grid useful to position the image on the right position visually. As you see, we can also set this here if we want to be 1 and 10. But with the grid, it's much easier to do it manually. Of course, we have the zoom. This one is a little calculator if you need it. Then, if we have multiple images, these two buttons are to change what image is on front and what is on the back, because you can also overlap images. Then we have the rotations and the flip. Before I didn't mention, but when you print, you do not need to manually flip the images or load them already flipped, because WhiteRIP, when you press the print button, will automatically take care of that. So you can use the image that your customer sent to you without much editing needed. You just load, you position the image where you need, how many you need, and print. No need to do to remember to do the mirror. This button is if you want to specify manually the white channel. Let me load an image with that already prepared. So as you see, this image right here, let's do this. So if we need to print this on generic color, so we choose our color fabric. This one will be the white layer. But let's say that we want the white to be only under the next word. We can go here, load the ink channel. That is a file, black and white, with the white only where we want to print then the white in the graphic. So we choose here white and channel. And now if we go to on the preview, we see that we only have white on the next word. Even if there are some circles here that have white, as we specified the channel, this will override the automatic WhiteRIP white layer creation. Okay, so now let's move on the right side. Here we saw before there is the input for the position. This one is for quick positioning on the corners or on the center or in the border. Here we have the image size, the percentual of the image size. This one will unlock proportion between width and height. This one will fill the image to the print area, and this button here will reset the image to its original sizes. Now, printer option. These settings here are settings that are saved on the environments. The environments are presets. So as we said before, black fabric that is optimized for black fabric will have its resolution, its quality settings, also some machine settings that we will see in a moment. The order, of course, you need to print the color under the white, but as you see here, you can decide to print only color and only white. If you want, for example, to use the black or the dark optimization, but you for some reason don't want the color or the white, you can change it, and automatically WhiteRIP will only print the layer you choose. But by default, of course, it's color white. So before we print the color, and over we'll print the white. And we can make all these changes from print option that we will see later. But some of the settings, like resolution and some printer settings and also the ink level, are all on print option. But we can make the changes already from the template. So it's a bit quicker than go to print option, make the changes, then go back here. And the nice thing is that when we make the changes, we will see that we can save them as a new environment, because as this setting that we can change here is just a temporary override unless we save them or from print option or from the function that we will see in a moment. Because if I change the resolution here and then change move to another environment, then go back, you see that the settings has been resetted to this its original value. Also the total, for example, I go back, the value is back to what it was before. So we can make some changes, and then with this button here we can create a new environment with the settings. So what are the settings that we can edit from here? We have seen the resolution of the print, and when we change the resolution, we automatically have this windows open. What is this windows? This windows is for some printer optimization and settings. As a printer, because we are not changing some parameter of the print, but more some of the behavior of the machine from here. So for example, we can change the printer source. For DTF, of course, you will use or paper or roll. We have the fade, that is a pass optimization settings. It's very useful because it will hide little machine errors. So if your printer is not with a very good nozzle, these settings that we default set to best can really make a difference. It will slow a bit the print, but even with a printer that is not at its best, you can deliver very good prints. The bending defect with this one can really be solved. By default, it's the best. If your printer it's okay with a good nozzle, has no paper load issue, you can also use the fast. Will make the printer go a little faster, but still the optimization will be active. Of course, you can also turn it off, and the printer will be much quicker. But we usually suggest to keep at least fast. By default, we use best. max feed will change the max movement that the printer will do in one time. This is useful if the machine is giving some error on paper loading, when there is a big gap between two graphics, or the start of the sheet and the graphic. These settings you can use if you print you print an image that is supposed to be 10 centimeter, but it's a little shorter or a little longer. With these settings we can change how the machine prints, so the printer will be with the right sizes. We can change the B or unidirectional. We can change the drop size of the printer. This button here will open the window that we just saw. We already discussed about the order. So again, by default it's already color white. So when you need to print, you do not need to mirror the image. You do not need to change the order. It's already by default ready to print. And here we can change the ink total quantity. We can change it with the first sliders. We will change the all value, but we can also change a single color at once. And as we see before, we can click on the color, and we can see a preview of what that ink channel will print. So we can see here where will be printed cyan, where will be printed black, and so on. Now, moving to the print options. Here is where we can really edit and create our environments. So as you see, there are some different settings from the template. We have the base color, that is what defines if it's white color, black, or dark media kind of environment, and this will affect the optimizations of the color and also of the black. So as you see, the resolution, dot size, quality, and this button will open the same windows of the template. So let's move where the things are different. We can set for each environment the head channels. By default, if you keep CMYK on their original position, you do not need to make changes, as our profiles already have CMYK, where the Epson original machine use CMYK, and the white on the other channels. But if you want, or if your printer do not use the standard CMYK position, you can set each channel to whatever you want. You're not you do not need to use the Epson configuration. For example, if your 8-channel printer has a clogged channel, and it's it's the cyan channel, what you can do, for example, with WhiteRIP, it's instead of replace the head, you can print a little slower. You can move the cyan to where where one of the 4 white was, and disable one slot, for example. So the clogged slot will not be used anymore, but you can still print with the other 7. You will need to increase a bit the white quantity, as now you have 1 channel less. Maybe you need to go a bit higher on the resolution, but you can still continue to print while you wait for your new head, or if you do not want to replace the head, you can still go on. Color management here. The input profiles is what profiles is applied on RGB RGB images when are loaded, unless and we will see it later on unless there is an integrated profiles on the image. But that it's an option that you can disable, and by default use the profile that it is set here. By default we apply the Adobe RGB profile. We can also change the black point compensation. What is the black point compensation? When you print black on a printer, it's really hard to get a pure black. The most time you will not have a deep black as a monitor. So if you have a gradient of black or gray, it is possible that at some point the machine cannot print more black than what it's already printing, and so you will have a gradient that do not increase its black but stay stationary. With black point compensation, the software will the profile will activate this function to compensate. So if you have a gradient from white to black, it will be more linear with no stationary points at the ends, like this one. As you see, without black compensation you can have some stationary point from here to the end. Instead, with black point compensation, you see that it goes linearly from white to the best black that the profile can provide without stationary points. Same for CMYK profile. You can you have the same options. ECC output, these are our profiles, the profile that will be applied on the ripped on the graphic before be ripped. And we have some additional settings here. So pure color, this settings is if you want to print you can print CMYK, CMY, or only black with the pure color. Use black ink, it's how it will optimize the black ink. We have different options. We see now the different optimization. By default, we use the black area, and this one is the tolerance of the black. It will optimize the black from pure black to, let's say, it's 30 here will mean a really dark gray. So we are now in a black fabric, so it will not print black if the graphic is black or really dark gray. TRC here is our file for TRC. When you use our profiles, you usually do not have to change the settings. Are already provided as you install the printer and download the profiles. In curves, this is for edit the behavior of the quantity of ink that we want to lay down. We can enable it with this button. Double click to add a point, and then we can move it up and down to change all the ink curve, but we can also change it one color by one. We can add a different point. This is really an advanced feature, but if you know how to use it, can be really helpful if your colors, maybe your ink are very different from the one we use to make the profiles, so you can correct the colors of the prints of the profiles with this. Then of course you need to save. You can save and export the curves. So let's say black media. Then we have the ink limit, same of the template, but when we change the setting here and we save, the setting will be permanent. Virtual dithering, it's for make half-toning effects. We have a group of environments with the effect active. We have different effects. By default, we use the 8x8 orthogonal on the alpha channel. Here we have the value of alpha that will trigger the effect. And again, when you use this effect, whether you want to keep using this one or you want to change it, when you find the one that you like, you can create or edit the environment, save it, and then when you need to use it from the template, you just select the media with the effect and the environment. As you see, we have made changes on the print option. So now what the software is informing us that the profile that we have here has been changed on print option. So if you, for example, you change the head slots, you need to reload it. Otherwise, you will keep using the old settings. The software will automatically tell you that. So yeah, just remember to click yes. And here we have all the environments with the dithering effect active. So if you want to print with the effect, you just select one. You will not see the effect on the preview, but you will have it on the print. So for example, this image already printed with different effects. Here, let's put it here so it's a big. As you see here, there is a bit of a gradient of transparency on the edges, and using the effect on the alpha channels, we'll make something like this. This is it's one, but we have different. You see that the pattern is different. Also, you can change the size of the pattern. You can change also the how much you want the rasterization effect to appear by changing the value that we saw before. The starting point. Wait here. So here, our default is 8x8 orthogonal with a 30% of starting value. Of course, if you increase it, you will have the effect more deep, with more inside the graphic. But you can make it also on the single color, or even use different value, different halftones together to create more different effects. Here we have some some button that we need to discuss. So here is to save the if we make any changes, we can save by from this button or from this one. Here, if we need to edit the name of the environment, this one is to delete an environment. And these two buttons, the three buttons, are very useful. This one is useful to load an environment from your hard drive, and it can be very useful if you make changes of our default profiles. You can export the environments. So you can choose what group to export and what profiles to export. You then click export. You set of course the files. Let's say custom profiles DTF P400, and it will create a file that we can then open later. If you need to reset the software, you need to move to another computer. You do not have to manually to download our default profiles and make the changes. You can export and then import back on the other installation. Or you can download the environment as we did it on the first configuration of the software. If we release new environments or you make some changes on the default environments, and then you do not know how to go back because the changes are not good, our profiles are online, so you just select. Of course, it tells you, the software tells you that you already have the file that contain all the profiles on your hard drive. So you can decide to open the one that you downloaded when you install the software, or download a new one. Especially if it's been updated, it's of course it's better to download the new one. You can select again as you export. Here you can also select when you import what profiles to import. Of course, in this case, we are importing a profiles that were already installed. So it will see that the files are that the group, also the name, it's already in the software. So there is a conflict, and you can decide what to do in this case. We go to yes to all because we want to revert all the changes that we made to the original value. Also, we can edit the name of the group, and of course delete and create new group of environments. Since we are here, we are managing the also some printer settings. We can create new environments for printing on roll, because by default the profiles are for with source paper. But if you want if you print roll and paper, you may need both. So you can create a new profile. You can select the profile that you want to change from paper to roll. You create a new environment. We set the name. And it will copy all the settings of the previously selected environment. So we have now an exact copy of the one that was selected before. We can go here, change the role, save it, and now we have the environment with the settings to automatically use the role instead of the paper. You can do with all the profiles that that you need, and the other profiles remain untouched. So you can have presets for paper and presets for role. RIP option are settings related to the software, more in general, not specifically to the print. So we have the language, the unit of measure, the RIP quality. By normal, it's already an high quality, and it's our default value. But you can, if you need, you can increase the quality. It will give a better results, especially with gradients. But it will take more to process. As with higher quality, it will be a little slower. Here we have the mode that we saw when we printed from the template. We were asked these settings. If your printer support, you can set rip and print. Otherwise, you need to choose between print after rip, so after the processing of the image is done, the software will print them automatically, or rip only. So the file will be prepared for the print. We compare here in the queue, but will be not sent to the printer automatically. We can do it from here. Right click print, or this button here. Here we go on the active queue, and then when it's the sender is done, we'll go back here. Now I'm using P400 on spool, so it's also the send is almost immediate, because Windows will take care of it actually. So if you use TCP or other method, you will see the status going progressively from 0 to 100%. So going back to the print option, we have the preview settings. These are the files that are generated to be shown on the template. So medium quality, it's the quality that we are using now. You see that it's okay for I think 90% of the users. Maybe if you have some images with thin lines or something like that, you can change it to high. Again, a little it will be a little slower, of course, but by normal for all of the usage of the software, medium is okay. This one, integrated CCC. As we mentioned before on print option, you can decide what ECC to use when you load the files. Okay, so RGB will have by default the Adobe RGB profiles, and CMYK will have the Fogra as we saw before. And from here we can decide the behavior that the software will have when an image has already an ECC integrated in it. So by default, the software will use the ECC that is inside the image. By changing on environment, we'll use the ECC that is that we decided inside the environment. the environment settings, and with the user we'll ask what profiles we want to use. Open file type. This changes the behavior of the open button. So standard. Let me show you how it is again. When you go on the images, you selected an image. We show you the preview here of the image. But of course, if the image is small, will take a few seconds, almost instantly. But if you start to having large images, it can take a little while to generate. So you can decide to use no preview. So you see there is no more the preview window, or you can change it to bridge, so it look a bit like other bridge, you know, when you have all the preview of the images without selecting them, and yeah, you just you go quicker on selecting the images. As you see here, there is a presets for the path, so I can go quickly on my folder with the images. I can add a new one if I want. You just choose the directory. I can give them a name to better identify, and also I can choose between some icons to distinguish better them on the bar here. This one change where WhiteRIP place the 00 point of the sheet. By default it's top left, but as you see, you can change the corner of the 0 if you need. Here we have some printer settings, some printer related settings, more like the printer port. So from here, if you remember, we set the printer on during the first configuration, but we can, if we choose the wrong printer, we need to change it for some reason. We can delete it and reselect the printer. Again, you can give it a name and save it. This one is to download the driver from the server. Usually you will not need it, but in some cases can solve some issues if the dongle has not been recognized correctly on the first installation. You might not have the right driver for the dongle, so you can go here, printer, download, and it will fix the issue. Here there are some other settings. With this button we can reset the program, so then we can reconfigure it for another printer or configure it differently. If we go back as we saw before, when we will reopen it, we will go again on the first form with the printer select and all the other steps that we did before. Here you can see the quality of the RIP. By default, WhiteRIP uses 16-bit. So the color depth, the color is more depth. There is more quality. Many other RIPs still work at 8-bit, but our default, by default we use 16-bit. Print direction, it's for some printers, especially some kind of Chinese printer that need to receive the data in a different way. But for Epson printers, right to left, it's okay. Hot folder is a function of WhiteRIP. So you can place an image in a folder, and automatically the printer, the WhiteRIP, will open the image and will process the image with the settings that we can specify here. So now the hot folder is active. You can specify what kind of files we are going to place on the hot folder. If the WhiteRIP should look for a CSV file or images. With CSV, we can specify a large number of parameters. Instead, with image, we just have the one that that you see now here. So, open a WhiteRIP means that the image will be open on WhiteRIP, but will not be processed. Will just be open. So you place the image on that folder, the image will automatically be opened on WhiteRIP. Instead, if you do not want, if you want to work automatically, you turn it off. You select the environment that you want to use. Let's say colored fabric. You choose the path of the hot folder, and here you see print after RIP. We can make the WhiteRIP to process the image and to add to the queue, or we can make it process the image and directly print. We can set the image position from the 0 of the sheet. So as you see, there is no settings for the image, like the size of the image. You need to already place the image in the hot folder with the right size. Otherwise, it will place the image on this position, but if the image goes out of the table, it will just cut it and that will not resize. So our hot folder is active. Let's try to put an image into that. Okay, so this is our hot folder. Let's place this image to have the right size. So as you see, WhiteRIP has deleted the image as it was loaded by the software. And now in a moment we will see the image here in the queue. Now the WhiteRIP is processing the image just like if we were ripping from the template. Here it is. So as you see, this is our image on the position that we set. It's a color media as we set on the hot folder settings. And it's already ripped, and it sent also on to the printer because we set that behavior. So now we can take a look at the queue here. From here, as mentioned before, when we were looking at the template, we can export the ripped file and import to print again, but we will not able to edit. Just load, reprint, but no changes to the settings. So here with this button we can export. Will ask us the path, or from here export, and we can decide where to put the file that we export. So skull exported just here, and then to import from here we can import here skull, and we will see it's the same file, but we cannot edit it. So on the queue there is also some other tools. For example, the ink cost calculation. So as you see here, we have the consumption of every single ink, and also here it says primer, but we set the cost and the consumption of the powder. So let's take a look on how to set this. So from here you can set the ink cost. You can set the value. This will only change the label, will not actually make the value conversion. For example, for euros to $, we'll just change the label that we see here. And you can input the cost for each liter of ink. For example, now we have for each color the same cost, but it can be different. For example, I mean, white could be a little a different brand of ink, so it can be a little more expensive, say 55. Here we set the cost of the powder and the consumption of it. You want to set this only under image, so WhiteRIP we calculate the area of the image and automatically calculate the cost of the quantity of the powder and the cost based on the value you set here. You can also set a cost for the person that print. So then you, based on the printing time, you can have a complete cost information. So for example, this one that was on black, so you see we were using a black media kind of environment, so the black consumption is very low. It was this one was an A3 format. You may need to enter the printing time manually if you print from spool. As you know, when you print from spool, the file is taken by the Windows spooler instantly. So you do not have automatically the time, but you can make you can add it, make it take 8 minutes to print. You can also add the cost of the film. Let's say it was 80 cents of a euro, and if you increase the copy, you have the cost will automatically increase based also the consumption will increase, so you have the total cost for 5 copies of this A3 print. Of course, your value may be different. I also put the printing time without checking, so could be different. With this button, you can export this information in PDF. This is the PDF with the print report. We can see the ink quantity here and the costs. So if we go down here, we can see some information about the environment and also a barcode. This barcode allows the user to scan the code, and automatically the RIP will reprint this job. Of course, the job needs to be on the queue. If you delete it, the barcode will not work. Otherwise, you can just scan it and print. So going on to explaining the button up here, we already seen the template. A nice feature is even if you close this window, when you go back, you do not lose the layout you were using. So the image is still here, the settings are still here. You do not lose that information, even if you click the X here. So spot channels. This let you see the channels inside the image, or as we saw from the template, you can load manually the white channel for an image. Okay, so for example, this one we did it on the template, and when you do that on the template, if we do it from here, we choose the channel, and then we add another image. The two will you see, because we did on the template, this one only this one has the white channel, while the other, this one, has the WhiteRIP white layer generation. Instead, if we do that here, spot channels, okay, so we will see that all the image have the same white layer setting. See, going on with the tools tab here, we have the zoom to zoom the image. Just a visual effect, will not affect the image size. We have the rotation, the flip. Again, it's the same that there is on the template, but this you can do one time, and if you add 5-10 copies of the same image, already has this this rotation or this flip. So doing it here before you actually load on the template can save you sometimes if you print a different copy of the same image. So edit image, you can make some basic image editing from here. For example, you could crop an area. You select where. From the selection, you say that you want to crop. Then, for example, you can make some color effect. For example, increase the contrast. You see, this one is the original image. This one is the preview of the change that we are doing. Can work with the bit of the value. Work with the gamma of the image, and then when you're done, you click yes, and it will create a copy of the image with the settings that we just changed. You see the two images. One is cropped and with more contrast, and the other is the original one. Next button here, it's it's a tool to generate some patches of color. For example, you want to print a specific cyan, for example, a shade of cyan of blue, but you have not but the profile does not arrive at the right value with the color that there is on the file. So what you can do is you select, for example, your blue. You select your page size. For example, we will put now our A3 size. For example, 29, 42. We will set the little boxes here, the little patches size. The steps mean between one patch and another, how much it will move the color. Okay, so we can generate, and we will see that we now have different. Maybe one step it's a little different to see from the monitor. Let me increase to 3. Now you see that we have different shades of the color that we selected here. So what we can do is open on WhiteRIP the dispatch, printed, and it will be printed also. I will show you from the template. It will print also the color value. So once you find the right one, replace the color on the image with the color that we found more close to the color that we want. Another option, it's using the color table function. To open it, it's just right click on the image, color table. We can replace the colors from inside the RIP. So we add a new color replacement here. from the image we can select the color that we want to replace. For example, I will pick this one. Now we select this as input color. See? And then let's say that we want to replace it with a color more close to the orange. For example, this one. And we can go to the preview. We can enable this color replacement. You will see that now that the next word is no more in red, but is an orange. And we can do this also to remove the black background from some images. Let me show you. So like this image that has a black background. You can go on our color table, add a new replacement, choose the RGB value. We left the other color to none. You can go to preview, replace, enable, yes. And as you see, there is no background. As you close, the image now has no more the black background, but this will not edit the original image. Other tools from here. We have the color library that will open a kind of pre-made patch with some colors, so you can print also this one and see how does if you need some color, you can find them here without need to create the patch. This is more generical. The patch creator, you can go more in deep, but it can be useful. Then we also have the create profile tool, so you can create your own color profiles. You will need a spectrophotometer, but yeah, with WhiteRIP you can create your own profiles. From the help tab, you can click the help and will open you the guide of WhiteRIP. Sandbag is if you find some error, you can let us know about. We'll just give you the information about your current version of the software. This was an overview of our software. Many of the functions that you saw here were suggested from our customer and company we collaborate with. So if you think our software is missing something, or you have some ideas for some useful function, let us know and we will see how to add it. I thank you all for your attention. I want to remind you that on our website, whiterip.com, you can download the demo version of WhiteRIP DTF. And if you have any trouble, you don't know how to set something, just send a mail to our support team and we will help you. Contact us at support@whiterip.com. Again, thank you all for following us, and follow also our YouTube channel, as we will upload new tutorial for DTF soon. So follow us and keep in touch.